Alright, so I'm actually going to redo this video. This is one I just deleted. And this is basically my thoughts on the Threadripper Pro. I kind of fucked up a couple things in that video, and honestly it was half an hour long and I wanted to make it shorter. So we're going to try and do that today. Try searching here. If ever there were a reason to fucking hate these websites, man. Remember how I just searched for this and I couldn't find it even though it's right fucking here? Yeah, not the first time. So, let's start off with the design. Again, I'm going to try to keep this one short, because last time it was like half an hour. So the design with the 5 1/4 inch drive bays, I fucked that up last time. These are 5 1/4 inch drive bays. I was kind of drunk. Would make you think you're supposed to lay it down on this area here, but the Lenovo logo there, the ThinkStation logo here, and the Threadripper shit here suggests it should be a tower, especially seeing how you can kind of tell there's feet on the bottom. So I hate this fucking design, and Corsair has one too, where the drive bays are suggesting you lay it down flat, but everything else says it's a fucking tower. It's like, make up your fucking mind. I remember my last desktop I had was an HP workstation, and the logo was the same orientation as the drive bays because it was meant to be laid down flat. You could stand it up, but it wasn't meant to. It's like, just fucking pick one, please. Because now if I lay it down flat, it's gonna look fucking stupid with the logo sideways and shit. Windows 10 Pro is shit. I use Linux Mint Debian Edition right now, but for everything Linux can't do, there's Windows 10, what was it? It's an enterprise version. Forget the name of it. LTSC. And the reason why I use LTSC for Windows 10 is because even Pro isn't Pro. It's just full of adware, spyware, keyloggers, and all this bullshit. I wouldn't recommend you use it. Ubuntu is a meh distro. It's meh. I've always had a problem with a lot of the shit they do. The proprietary snap packages. There was the issue a few years back where if you searched for something on your desktop, it would search it through Amazon. It's just not a good distro, honestly. They do make a lot of great improvements to the Linux operating system, but Jesus fucking Christ, some of the decisions they make suck. Real or Red Hat Enterprise Linux, better. I would probably just stick with Linux Mint Debian Edition personally. So you can configure this with up to 64 gigs of RAM, which means you're going to have 8 gig sticks. I have no idea where the fuck they're getting 8 gig 3200 ECC RAM. You can put up to 512, which is twice as much as Threadripper that's out right now as the non-pro version. We'll get to the 512 in a minute. Put up to 2 terabyte and 4 M.2 drives. Quadros P series aren't as powerful as the RTX series. There's videos on that on YouTube. I'd go RTX personally. They're just better. It's 2020 and you're putting a fucking AC Wi-Fi card in. I have an AX Wi-Fi card, which is better than this fucking thing in here. Marvell Ethernet, I mean. Why not a Quantia? Why Marvell? I don't know why they went Marvell for that. That's just fucking weird. At least not fucking Realtek. A bunch of software that you'll be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars a year for, so it's a fucking waste of money. And here's the killer I have with this, is a 1000-watt power supply. And it's either platinum or titanium, given that bullshit. Here's the thing. If we take into account, let's say we were to configure this with, even though we can put up to 512, we can only configure it with up to 64 gigs, which is fucking dumb. If you're doing professional workloads, it is very possible to use at least twice that easily. But let's, for argument's sake, say we configured this with 64 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte M.2s, 4 terabyte 3.5 drives, and we put a Quadro 8000, because this one costs like 10 fucking grand. Let's say we just did that. The Quadro 8000, these 2 terabyte M.2 drives and this and 4 terabyte 3.5 drives with 64 gigs of RAM and this processor, that alone, not counting the fans or anything else in the system, just the processor, the 64 gigs of RAM, the storage that I just highlighted, and a Quadro RTX 8000. Not counting anything else power requirement wise. Uses 701 roughly 701 watts. I did the math in the last video. If you times, and this is what you're supposed to do whenever you're building a system, by the way, if you times that by 1.5, that's for the overhead, times it by 1.5. That means you are using 1,051.5 watts, which means this power supply is not nearly enough to allow this system to stretch its legs. And God forbid you even try putting more RAM in this fucking thing. Because I can tell you right now, if you maxed a system like this out, you know, with 500, because I've already done the math on this, if you max a system like this out where you have a Threadripper with, let's say, a 5.25 inch Blu-ray drive and a 3.25 inch card reader, you'd want to put a 5.25 inch to 3.25 inch adapter there, but let's say you have a Blu-ray drive, a card reader put into this. Let's say you put it up to 512 gigs of RAM, you have all this storage, you have an RTX. You're going to need a 1600 watt fucking power supply to have something like that. I know, I have done the specifications on this. This 1000 watt power supply is not nearly enough of what you need, and I don't know why they put fucking 1000 watts in there. It's not going to let the system perform as well as it should. It's going to have a ton of issues, especially if you're upgrading. It's just under fucking spec. And again, this design is just fucking dumb. This is not new for Pro Series to be proprietary, but the difference is with the Ryzen 5 Pro Series and Ryzen 7 and Ryzen 9 Pro Series, those still use an AM4 socket, so you can put them in any motherboard. You can literally go on eBay and buy them in like new condition. Basically, there are people that will buy these systems and rip the processors out and sell them. You can't even do that with this because even the motherboard is proprietary. And then you have to worry about blacklisting. So you can't even strip these systems for parts. But the thing I worry about is the power supply. It's not nearly enough for this system alone. If you were to spec it, you'd need at least 1200. If you were to put drive bays in this fucking thing and max out the RAM, you'd need 1600. I honestly don't know what the fuck they were thinking here. How long is this video right now? 11 minutes? There was also the issue I had where the Mac Pro had a proprietary AMD graphics card that could compete with the Quadro series. Because you can't just take that out of a Mac Pro and you know, it won't work. It's basically it. So it doesn't matter if it's ECC or not. It's going to use, I think, the same amount of voltage. At least I'm pretty sure about that. Like I said, I don't know where the fuck they're getting 8 gig 3200 sticks. But let's go this for sake. This is an ECC RAM, but I just want to prove a point here. Again, I'm going to try and keep this as short as possible here. What did we say on that? 4 terabyte? Yeah. Let's do 4 of those. And it was 2 terabyte M.2s. What are you doing with those drives, by the way? RAID 0 maybe? That's what I'd do. Okay, so 8,000, so 711 watts, sorry. And that's just for the RAM, the CPU, and the hard drives, and the fucking card. That's not including the CPU cooler, that's not including the motherboard. So 711 times 1.5 is 1066.5, sorry. Which is already 66.5 watts more than this dinky fucking 1000 watt. But wait, it gets worse. Because let's say we wanted to upgrade the RAM to, what was it, 512? So let's max out the RAM and let's add a couple things to really show you what's going to happen if you upgrade this to its fullest potential. So let's keep all the storage, let's keep all that. Let's go to memory again. We want DDR4. We want 3200. We want 32 gigs times 4. Let's do half that with 256 gigs of RAM. So 64 times 4. So that's half the RAM. Already can see where we're having a problem here. Now let's say we wanted to do an optical drive, because maybe we have Blu-rays and we want to make a Plex server. And let's say we wanted to add a card reader. Okay, well now we're at 889 watts. Times that by 1.5. And we're well beyond 1200 watts now. We're at 1333.5 watts, which is basically, and we're not even maxing out the RAM here at 512 gigs. So you can see the problem here. If you max this thing out on RAM and you put a Blu-ray drive in a card reader, like, you're going to be in shit's creek. You really are going to be up shit's creek with this fucking dinky power supply. It's not even enough for 64 gigs of RAM and a Quadro and the graphics card, not including everything else. I don't understand why they fucking made this. The design is just fucking dumb. And this is another reason why I would suggest you don't buy pre-built computers, because apparently enough thought didn't go into making it. And I'm going to end the video here. It's 10 minutes, 12 minutes shorter, but yeah. Fuck this thing. This thing is stupid. And I'm getting sick and tired of proprietary bullshit components that don't exist anywhere else on the market. I really am.